Hi guys, welcome back. This is the 28th video of the JavaScript video series, and today we're taking a look at another JavaScript array method provided to us by JavaScript, and it's called reduce. So reduce helps us to perform a couple of functions on JavaScript arrays, and it's very similar to map and filter functions. If you've not seen the map and filter functions video, it's just the previous video to this video. You can go and check it out. That might make it easier for you to understand reduce. So let's get down into it. I'll try and write some code and I'll explain it to you on the way, but you'll only understand it properly once you've seen the output. So let me not delay any further. You can open up your JS Fiddle window, and in that we'll write some code in the JavaScript tab. So let me start by first defining an array called numbers1, and I'm going to put some randomly sorted values into this, like 1, 23, and 14, 14, and then 71, 43, 94, 57, 82, 51, and so on, right? And then I'll create another variable called numbers2, and this will, and here we'll say numbers1 dot reduce, and we'll say my function. So let me explain to you what I've written in these two lines. I've defined an array called numbers1. I've put these different values inside that array. Then I've created numbers2 as a variable, and I'm saying I'm calling the reduce method provided to me by JavaScript on this array called numbers1. Just like map and filter function is going to go through each of these values in the array. So for each of these values in the array, it's going to call the function called my function, which I'm yet to define. So I hope till now everything is clear. But like I said, everything will be clear only after you see the output here. So let me write the next few lines of code. So I'm going to define my function here, function my function, and this takes 4 different parameters. I'll take you through each of those 4 parameters. But first, let me write the return statement here. It says return total plus value, right? So, and since all of the values after the function has been run on all these values in the numbers1 array are going to be stored here in the numbers2 variable. So I'm going to try and see or try and output what the numbers2 variable holds, right? So that's why I've written document that write numbers2, because I want to print out the value of numbers2 at the end. So now we have this here, and now the 4th parameter that this accepts is total value index and array. So let's say total value index and array. Now, if you've seen the map and filter functions before, you would know that value and index are referring to the value of each of these different elements or values in the array, and index is referring to the index at which the value is present, right? So if the value is 1, the index is 0 here. If the value is 23, the index is 1 out here, right? And so on. Here we are not using index and array, we're only using total and value. Total by default is always 0, and slowly the value of total keeps changing in this case at least, because what's happening here is first we're returning total, which is 0, plus value, which is 1. So the value of total becomes 1. Then we have 1, which is the value of total, and then the value of and the value here is 23, and then becomes 24, and then 24 plus 14, and so on. It adds all of these things together. Now let me show you an output. You'll notice here something strange, something that does not happen with map and filter functions. With map and filter functions, you get actual arrays, right? So you perform some functions, some kind of an operation on each value of the array, and then you get an array here, right? But here you get only one value, because reduce reduces all the values to one single value. So it's going to basically run operations on all the numbers or on all the values in this array, and it's going to reduce just one single number. So basically it's going to add up all the values. In this case, we're just adding up all the values one by one. So it's going to take 0 plus 1, then 1 plus 23, then 23 plus 1 plus 14, like that. Will add up all of the values and we'll get 436. So I hope that's clear, and I hope I've also made the difference between reduce and map and filter functions also clear to you, how they work. So basically, I'll repeat again that reduce function returns only a single value and not an entire array like map and filter. This can be very confusing later on when you start programming more complex programs. So that's clear. Now let's take a look at, yeah, so as you know that value of total is always 0 by default, right? So now what if I want to set a particular value for total? So I can do that. Let's say the starting value for total I want to set as 100. So I can pass it here, right here I can pass it. And here I'll get 536. So basically when I call my function there itself, I can pass the value for total, which is 100. So instead of starting from 0, it'll start at 100, right? So I'll get 536 as a total instead of 436. Now let me show you something called as reduce write. Let me remove this 100 here. So this gives me again 436. So the reduce function works from left to right. So it adds these two numbers and these two numbers and these two numbers and so on, right? But reduce write works from right to left. So it starts from this number and then starts adding all these numbers to it, right? So in this array, there won't be any difference because reduce left and reduce right works the same. But this, you can find different use cases for it, and this can be a handy function for some other use cases. So I hope you've learned the reduce function and also understood the difference between reduce and map and filter, which is quite important. And if you have any doubts or if you have any issues with reduce function, you can put that in the comments below and I'll try and help you out. And if you're liking this series, then don't forget to subscribe so that you can be updated whenever a new video comes out. And thanks a lot for watching.